So what we're going to do to start off with is we're going to make a copy of our data here. So I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to rename it lesson 15, and then this is calculating r squared and s. All right, so to do that, I'm going to sort my data so that I can see there's no gaps in it. So I'm going to sort, and it has a header row by GPA, or sorry, SAT. So now these are all here. So I'm going to have to calculate my residuals. And to do that, I need to know the slope, and I need to know the intercept. So I'm going to type in slope and my y data, right? If I'm putting this on the and so my y data is going to be the SAT score. So I'm going to get that, comma. My x data is this here. And here we go. And my intercept, it seems like it's trying to autofill. I'm just going to do it manually. So my intercept is again my y data, comma, my x data. There we go. All right, so I'm actually going to move this over. I'm going to get my predicted value first. So this is equal to my GPA times the slope, and I want that to always be there. So I'm going to put in my hard reference with my dollar signs plus my intercept, which is again always that cell. So I'm going to put my dollar signs, and it wants to autofill, and that looks good. So my residual equals my predicted minus my actual value. And there they are. All right. So what we want to do now is we want to figure out what our S values. So standard deviation of residuals, right, equals STD dev. And then I want my residuals here. Right, and so that's my standard deviation of residuals. That's my miss. If I want to get my r squared value, that is my correlation squared, so equals Correl, and then again my y data, comma x data, and that should be my r squared value. Oh, that's my correlation, sorry, and then I want to square that, so I raise it to the second power, and that should be my r squared value. Now we can try to check this real quick. We can grab these two columns and insert a chart, and I want a scatter chart. All right, so I've created my chart where I have my GPA, and I'll have a status card. I'm just change it a little bit so that the axes aren't quite so skewed there. So my vertical axis, I want a minimum value, I think is 900, maximum of 1600. That looks like it will work. So when I have my chart, move it up, and if I edit it and I go to customize, this is where I can add a trend line and then show the r squared value and then label it with the equation. And when I do that, that r squared value, 0.152, is the same r squared value that I got here where I use my correlation. All right, so that's it. That's how you can get your standard deviation of residuals right? But just using standard deviation once you have your residuals, and then your R squared value you can calculate manually, or if you can get it from the chart, it'll be the same thing.